Yo vai vedansya prahinoti tasmai tam hadevam atma buddhi prakasham mumukshur vai sharanamaham prapadye. We who seek liberation take refuge in that infinite luminous being who has projected the Creator himself and who is the repository of the infinite knowledge, Veda. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Om peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So I'm happy to introduce today Swami Tadananda ji. He is the head of our work in Fiji, the president of the Ramakrishna Mission work in Fiji. He joined the order in 1991 from Fiji, not in Fiji, but he's originally from Fiji. So he's our only Swami from Fiji, and I think the first ever. We've never had a Swami from Fiji before, though we've had work in Fiji going on since the 1920s. And so he went to India to join. He was in Deoghar at our Vidyapith in Deoghar. He has been in the Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture in Calcutta. He's been at the center in Hyderabad, at the School of Languages in Hyderabad. And in 2006, he was sent to Sydney, right? In 2006, he was in Sydney. He was there for a little more than a year. 2008, he was posted to Fiji. And so he's been there since 2008, so 11 years. And this is his first trip to America. And this is near the end of his first trip to America. Not hopefully his last trip to America, but near the end of his first. He goes from here this afternoon to Dallas, where he has a program, and then goes back to Fiji via Los Angeles. So we're very happy that he could include Houston because he's a young Swami who has many creative ideas about the Vedanta work. And so he's going to tell us about that today with the help of a video presentation about the work in Fiji. So he'll tell us about the temple in Fiji, about his meditation, teaching meditation to children, and about his mental wellness program and the digital spread of Vedanta in Fiji and beyond. So again, it's a delight to see a young Swami who has so many creative, out-of-the-box ideas. So I'll ask the Swami to speak to you.
Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Reverend Maharaj and dear devotees, thank you for your kind words of welcome. And it is indeed a pleasure to be here in Houston. This is the place of NASA. Yesterday we went to see how people explored the outer space, and we all are also explorers, but we are trying to explore the inner space. That's what makes us spiritual seekers. But Maharaj asked me to talk a little bit about Fiji Center and some activities before I take you to the subject regarding which I'm here in USA, in Canada. The Fiji Center was started in 1939. Currently, we have a high school with about more than 1,000 students. We have a medical center, Sharda Medical Center, where we see close to 400 patients every week for free consultation, free nursing, and free medicines. And we have a Vivekananda Technical Center where we teach farmers, give them certified training in agriculture, production horticulture in certificates 2, 3, 4. These are registered qualifications. So the farmers who were never educated in their life are getting a formal qualification, which is, and of course the income and everything grows. And we do a lot of relief work because Fiji is prone to cyclones and floods and all that. 3 of us are there in Fiji, which keeps us pretty busy. But In 2012, we started a project and we built a meditation center. So I will show you a little video first, and then I will take you from there.
Let every man and woman and child, without respect of caste or birth, weakness or strength, hear and learn that behind the strong and the weak, behind the high and the low, behind everyone, there is that infinite soul, assuring the infinite possibility and the infinite capacity of all to become great and good. Let us proclaim to every soul, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Arise, awake from this hypnotism of weakness. None is really weak. The soul is infinite, omnipotent, and omniscient. Stand up, assert yourselves, proclaim the God within you. Do not deny Him. Dehypnotize yourselves. The way to do that is found in your own sacred books. Teach yourselves. Teach everyone His real nature. Call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakens. Power will come, glory will come, goodness will come, purity will come, and everything that is excellent will come when this sleeping soul is rose to subconscious activity.
Hello, this is Priyanka Mishra. In this video, me and my friends are going to talk to you about our state-of-the-art, one-of-a-kind meditation center located in our school. For those of you that do not know, Swamis Vivekananda College, SVC in short, is located just a few minutes outside of Nandi town and has a student population of about 1,000 students from all walks of life. And that's what makes SVC so cool. But amongst other exciting things happening, what makes SVC even more cool is our Universal Meditation Center, UMC for short. The UMC is where my colleagues and I spend time meditating on a regular basis. With the assistance of our amazing instructor Swamiji, we find that meditation is very useful for us to help us with our studies, mental and also emotional challenges. So recently, a few of us got together and decided we wanted to know more about the meditation center and the philosophies behind it. We went ahead and interviewed Swamiji and asked him a few questions which we believe you will find interesting. The first question we wanted to know about was the ideals behind the Ramakrishna mission.
The vision of education of Ramakrishna Mission as expounded by Swami Vivekananda is the manifestation of perfection already in man. This means all knowledge, all beauty, all purity, all goodness is already inherent deep within man. Education is the training, the process by which we manifest it. So all facilities such as the curriculum, the teachers, the facilities in the schools are there to empower the youth, the children, to bring out that inherent perfection. We find that normally our education system caters to the physical and the intellectual needs, the emotional needs, the moral and ethical dimension of our being, and the spiritual needs are not really included in our curriculum. As such, the education that we deliver to them is not holistic, it is lopsided. So when life throws challenges to them, emotional challenges, moral and ethical dilemmas, then they are not equipped to face those challenges because they are weak in those areas.
Secondly, we asked him to explain to us how the construction of the meditation center would have addressed some of the emotional challenges being faced by the younger generation.
So to address this shortcoming, we undertook a unique project to build a meditation center at our school with the idea of imparting this training in the art of acquiring mastery over own emotions or thought processes so that we can empower the youth by connecting them deep within themselves to that infinite reservoir of knowledge, beauty, the fountain of joy, so that they can draw as much as they want. So you see that when we teach the children the art of concentrating their mind, it will empower them to make the right decisions at the right time. Now,
where does this power come from? The trick is to learn how we can draw whatever we need from within us so that it nourishes us physically, emotionally, intellectually, morally, ethically, and spiritually. And so this spiritual essence of man is the fountainhead and the reservoir of all that we require. And it requires some training, some exercise. Just like if you want to become strong, we go to a gymnasium and do exercises and you put food and you become strong physically. Likewise, to manifest strength at a moral and ethical level, at an emotional level, and a spiritual level, we also require exercises.
In our discussions with Swamiji, we went on to learn that there was a great deal of information behind the actual building itself, the meditation center. For example, we learned that when it was designed, it was done in such a way that the sun had to be just at the right angles to illuminate the building and thus harness the energy. We also had the privilege to talk to the architect of the building itself, Mr. Allen, who comes all the way from Australia. This is what he had to say about the building.
We were trying to make the building reflect the process of meditation. When you come into a building to practice meditation, you should feel as though you're separate from the outside world. You shut down, you internalize. It's really important that the energy is still in the place. It shouldn't feel as though there's distractions, that the energy is shooting off, that you're constantly distracted by cars going past or these sorts of things. Another one was to have a sense of connecting this building to the universal cycles, like the sun. The sun is a very great symbol in all the traditions and is used in all sacred buildings. This college, as you know, has students from many different traditions and backgrounds. And the three main cultural or religious groups that come to this school are from the Christian, the Hindu, and the Islamic communities. So we wanted to make sure, though, that even those people who weren't part of any of those still felt welcome. So there was a sense that whichever way you approached this building, from whichever direction or background you came from, you felt that you could go to the centre of it, that it had meaning for you, that it wasn't just for one particular group.
A little later, some of my colleagues got to spend even more time with him as he took them around the center, explaining a few of the intricate design concepts that make the building one of a kind, not only in Fiji, but in the South Pacific.
As you walk around this building, you'll see there are many different entries. You can see there are entries here all the way around the building. So regardless of which direction you come from, and symbolically whichever culture or tradition you come from, you can always see to the center of the meditation hall. When you come inside, if you look around, you cannot see outside. And that reflects the process of meditation.
Imagine it to be the light of knowledge that dispels the darkness of ignorance. It's a light of purity that fills you with holiness. It's a light of peace that fills you with serenity and tranquility, spreading its radiance in all directions. Focus on the divine light within you. You may replace it with any divine form of your choice. And if you wish, you may repeat the universal sound Om to help in your concentration. Wherever the mind wanders away, bring it back to the divine within.
So we've been learning about meditation since 2015. Let's also hear what some of our students and teachers have to say about the impact of the meditation programs at our college.
It has given me the sense of responsibility, the ability to carry out my responsibilities and obligations in a correct manner. Also has given me the opportunity to go about things, my roles as a deputy head boy in the college, in the correct and right path as it is supposed to be done.
I have been meditating at the Universal Meditation Center for the past 4 years, from year 9 up until now, which is year 12. As we grew up, as we matured, we realized how important this was for us. And now, meditation to us is a habit. It's something that is part of us, part of our school life.
The world is changing rapidly through globalization. As a result, technology is having a greater impact on the lives of our children. Therefore, children need to develop the ability to think critically and make the right choices. We believe through guided meditation, students will be empowered towards good and acceptable behavior and will train their mind to make correct choices and decisions in life.
As an assistant principal of Swami Vivekananda College, I've seen that students from the year 2015 have started practicing meditation, and this has had a positive impact because a lot of behavioral problems have been solved. We have less bullying cases in the school.
It improves the whole of academic and learning skills in students. This included faster information processing, a greater focus, more effective working memory, more creativity, and the cognitive flexibility.
As student counselor, I have been successful in resolving issues with students who have been stressed out, emotionally disturbed, and could not come to terms with life.
Well, friends, there you have it. We hope that you enjoyed this short video of the Meditation Center. Be sure to drop in next time you're nearby. See you around.
There you go. So that was a little documentary that was prepared by the students, and I'll just show you a few photos. So apart from what you saw, there are a lot of the whole philosophy of meditation from the Upanishads and the scriptures has been built in the architecture. Difficult to show you here. You have to be in the building and move around to see the effects. But on 18th of February, when the sun rises, Sri Ramakrishna's birthday, when it rises on the horizon, then the light through a central slot falls on Sri Ramakrishna. The sun worships him. And so I'll show you some photos about how that is there. That's the light coming on him. Okay, so this is a few minutes, but it'll come precisely and cover the whole photo. Okay, there's another view of it. And when you look back through the slot, that's what you see. That's how you see the sun. Okay, this is a sunset in Fiji. Okay, beautiful place, clear skies and all that. I think you might get them in. And this is another photo looking into the, so you can see the morning sunrise. It's a very tall building. That means it's so high that if I stand in front of photo of Sri Ramakrishna, I try to reach him, I can't reach him. But you can imagine the size of this building. At the top, it's almost 12 meters high, 4-story, and open. And you saw there was a photo of Christ. So when the sun goes to Christ after about 10 days, we found that, to our surprise, it was not our design, that it's no longer a beam, vertical beam, it forms like a Jyotirlinga. Okay, you'll see this in, okay, and how perfectly it touches, covers him, the whole body, the head and the 2 knees. This was not our plan. So Christ had his own plan. And then we found that it's not only him, all the photos as the sun moves around, and we have this special effect around there. This is the school, and this is the meditation center there. This is our ashrama, the rest are school buildings. So in that small island somewhere we're doing something interesting, I suppose. And out of that came some ideas how we need to take these ideas out there, especially in this age when we find so much problem with mental health, and not only here, Australia, New Zealand, all over. People are struggling to deal with their problems. And with that idea and vision, I thought I would come around to Australia and seek the ideas of our Swamis and devotees and nuns who have been spreading the Vedanta teachings here for more than a century in some centers, but decades, and learn from the experience and share my ideas and see if that's a good idea in the first place, and if they like it and they would like to be part of it. So last year in April, the whole thing started when I was traveling to Australia and New Zealand. We were surprised with the high number of suicides in New Zealand. New Zealand, being a beautiful country, has the world's highest rate of suicide among the youth. Even though there are no natural disasters or man-made disasters, people are not able to cope with problems. that come in the way. And so we engaged some mental health specialists out of New Zealand and IT people from Fiji, Auckland in Australia, and took them to Fiji for a weekend to do some brainstorming and to see if there was a possibility of using Vedanta. Because to me, you see, the Bhagavad Gita was taught to somebody who was mentally depressed. Arjuna, Shadi Yoga. I do not know whether you ever thought from that angle or not. There's a great warrior, very much accomplished in his art of warfare, very eager to fight. Yet at that crucial juncture when he's supposed to deliver the fight, something within him gives in. Not an arrow had been shot at him, and he was on his knees, shaking, shivering, sweating, trembling, confused, making all types of excuses and justifications to run away into the forest or something like that. To such a person who was very weak and from within, not from outside, Sri Krishna gives 18 doses of Vedanta philosophy, and the result was that that man is standing on his feet and could discharge a most difficult duty, much more than anyone else in our life would face. Such is the power of Vedanta. But if you ask somebody, young people, to go and take the Bhagavad Gita and read or listen to lectures or discourses, they will not do that because times have changed. So this is Sanatana Dharma, the truths are eternal, but how they are delivered in different ages and times, they change. So in this age, if the way we are delivering, if it is not working, then we have to reflect and say, how do we take it to them? And that's the task in front of us. Swamis who are preaching the Vedanta, and in front of you devotees who have been listening and reading the Vedanta for years and years. It's good to have it for yourself. But if you want to deliver it to others, to a wider community, then more work is necessary. Sri Ramakrishna says a pin or needle is sufficient to kill oneself, but one requires a sword to kill others. So, and if youngsters out there are not getting interested in your Vedanta teaching, then you should never blame them and say, it's their fault. We have to reflect and say, maybe we are not delivering in the way they want it. So that's food for thought for all of us, if we really want to do the work that Swamiji has given us that responsibility. Us means not only the Swamis. Ramakrishna Mutt and mission is for both the devotees and the Swamis. Together we have to work. And it's not only for us to eat the mangoes. We have to share the mangoes around, like Sri Ramakrishna said. So the teachings must go beyond us. That we have to give some thought. Anyway, so that, what was the discussion, the outcome, we put it on our website. Okay, and I would like you to note this down. rkmglobal.org. This was put up there about a year ago, and after my tour of US. So in this tour, I came to LA and visited all the sub-centers, then to Sacramento, San Francisco, Berkeley, San Jose, St. Louis, the New York centers, Providence, Boston, Toronto, Washington, Houston, and I go to Dallas today, and I go back. So it has been two days, and I've covered all these places in about a month only, with the idea to meet all the Swamis and discuss and meet the devotees and say, here's a project that we are looking at. We'd like your views and thoughts and your support and contribution. Something we can do together. And since it's going to be global, so we can collaborate from any part of the world. And if we can put something up there which can become available to anyone, anywhere, anytime, that can be a very powerful channel through which the teachings of Vedanta can be reaching out to people who do not know where we are, too far from us, or they're too busy and they can't reach us. But we can reach out to them in a way with the modern digital technology. You can make it very, very interactive. So they don't need to come to a center, and you find that's becoming less and less and less. I see very few young people in here, and if you continue in this way, maybe, and this is the same story in every center that I go, so, but it's not that they are not interested in this message, but how we deliver and make it accessible to them. So with that idea, on that website, you'll find a technology vision for global Vedanta, how we can use technology to take the Vedanta to them in the way they want it. And I will upgrade this website, and thereafter I will reach out to our Swamis and seek your views. So when you visit that website, if you are interested to be part of this project, you can of course read that every now and then. It will keep on getting updated and you can see how the idea is evolving. But if you have something to contribute in terms like you're a teacher or educationist or very passionate about a project like that, you have some IT background, you want to give financial support or whatever, in whichever way you want to do, you can join on that website. Tell us who you are, where you come from, what are your expertise, what's the area of interest, and what you would like to do, and we will see if we can team up you with the rest of the team. And when you start working on some project, then your own ideas become clearer. You'll find that Swamiji had said that my mission can be put into a few words only: to preach unto mankind their divinity, which we have been doing all these years by teaching Upanishad, Gita, Vedanta and everything. But the second one is to preach unto mankind their divinity, and how to make it manifest in every movement of their life. That's the practical Vedanta that he wanted. It should not be some wonderful philosophy that we have in our head, but how to make it manifest in, not when you come to the temple or when you sit down for meditation and do your prayers. Whatever you're doing, if you're a teacher, how do you convert that work into worship? By seeing God in the students who come. If you're a businessman, how will you make that work, that business into a worship for you? If you're a doctor, can you see the divine in your patients? And when you do that, you'll find immediately there's love and sincerity and best of service you are giving. So, and he said, this Vedanta should make a fisherman a better fisherman, a student a better student, a housewife a better housewife. Whatever we do, this philosophy should be applicable in our everyday life. If it is not happening, if we are not trying, then we have not understood how Swami Vivekananda wanted this Vedanta to be applied. If it was just for spiritual purposes, then Shri Krishna would probably have taught this Vedanta to some monk in the Himalayan mountain cave. But he taught to somebody who was in the battlefield. And you, I, and everyone have our own little battlefields. Can this Vedanta empower us to fight our battles better? If it does, this religion is alive and doing its work. If it is not, then we have not got the essence of what Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda wanted. So the challenge is there. We don't expect people to come to the temple. We have to take that message out to them in their battlefields, just like Sri Krishna took it out in Arjuna's battlefield. So and how do we do that? All right, so that's the challenge. I hope you agree so far with me there. All right, so we said, whatever we do, it should be universal. Okay, Sri Ramakrishna came not for only Hindus or people in India, people of all faiths and all denominations, or who even don't believe in God. He came for them throughout the world. So Swamiji has said, we should be ready to sacrifice everything for that one sentiment of universality. That's a very, very strong statement. Except sacrifice everything, but must stick on to that universal thing. So whatever content we will produce should be very, very universal. That means Hindu or Muslim or Christian or Chinese or Russian or somewhere in any corner of the world, if he comes here, he should not see Hinduism or Vedanta or something like that will put him off. He should see something that's relevant to him. It's about his own personal growth and development. He enlarges his own understanding of what he is. He's not only a human being, he is a divine being, but having a human experience. He becomes interested in that. It's not about giving some knowledge only that this is all wonderful things, but he should be given exercises by which he will feel that awakening of that power, and he feels stronger, because strength is life, weakness is death. If religion can give us that inner strength, help in the manifestation of that inner strength, then it is good. Otherwise, it is some philosophy. It's nice to know, but it has not really become useful to us in our life. So with that idea, we thought anything that we put in the content should be universal. It should be authentic, because a lot of things are there on the internet and everything, claiming to awaken your kundalini or cleanse your chakra, and all this commercialization of religion is happening. It has to be authentic. It should be simple. Look at Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, Swamiji's teaching. They don't try to make it very complicated and bamboozle people with big words. Simple. It should be practical. You should be able to apply it. Otherwise, what's the use of knowing it? It should be relevant to them, not this is you learn something and afterwards something will happen. It should be relevant directly in the everyday life. It should be consistent. There should not be any contradictions within the site, different content saying different things on the same topic. It should be non-controversial. Don't go into an area like politics or subject matter which can divert the narrative. And if you can put something like this, then there's a global audience out there. So you saw what we are trying to do in Fiji, on a small island. We took this idea of Vedanta. We put a universal meditation center. There you saw Hindus, Muslim, and Christianity. But when we teach them the meditation center, we never use the word God even. There is a divine light within you. Focus on that. You can replace that with any divine form that you like, according to your faith. And if you are the Christians, the Chinese, the Koreans who don't believe in any God, but they're all sitting and meditating. And when they have that personal experience, then they themselves will ask for more. You don't have to drive it in there. That's okay. Don't thrust it until they're ready for it. Just like children, babies are given some food, then as they grow their teeth, then you increase, and adults have. But if you try to give them hard Vedanta right in the beginning, Astavakra Samhita, Advaita Vedanta right to a little baby, then of course they will get all knocked off and maybe lose interest in there or run away from that. So how we do that? Sri Ramakrishna was very, very clear. He said the mother makes different types of dishes, some for the sick person, some for the children, some for the adults. Each one takes them in their own way. So if we put this Vedanta in a systematic way, let them come there, and according to the need and spiritual development, take whatever they can, and if it's good, they'll come back to you. If it's not good, then they don't come back. It's not their fault. It's our presentation is not good. If somebody opens a shop, and I hear this complaint, oh, Swamiji, nowadays people don't come here, what do I do? Just like if somebody opened a shop and some customer happened to come in once and he never returned, would you blame the customer, or you say, I don't have the product for him to come back again? Likewise, the ashrama, the way we present the Vedanta has to be engaging. Simple, engaging, practical, useful, and if it's like that, they will come in their own way, in their own time. And when they're ready, they'll ask for more. So after, I'll say, just share with you, after 2 years of meditation, these children came to me and said, Swamiji, they themselves came and said, is there more to this concentration of mind, to meditation? I said, no, definitely it is more there. It's an old tradition. Over thousands of years, people have been meditating, but they have been using it as a spiritual thing, and through which they have been able to discover something more profound within themselves, that they're not only a physical body or a mind, but beyond that, they're a spiritual being. That entity is called Atman, or whatever they want to call, but it is out of this world. It is of the nature of pure intelligence, purity, goodness, strength, knowledge, bliss, and all those things there. It is eternal and immortal. And that is what we really are. And you can use the same meditation that we are teaching you to go deeper and discover yourself. And of course, I said, if you want, then I can take a class for you, explain to you in detail. And about 130 of them gathered, and I talked about meditation in more detail from a spiritual point of view. I talked about how in our spiritual tradition we can get a special mantra that comes from Guru Parampara. What is the mantra? How it helps in the concentration, all those things. And I said, if you want initiation, so this is something new, see? There are Hindus, Muslims, and Christians there. I'm talking to them about Hinduism now, Vedanta. Then would be happy to help you. And about 50 students said yes. They have to get the permission from their parents. But by the time we got it organized, it came towards the end of the year, and they had their board examinations and all that. So when our Vice President Maharaj came from India, there were 40 devotees who took Diksha. Out of that, there were 4 teachers and 16 students. And you'll be surprised that out of the 16 students, there were 10 Hindus, there were 4 Christians, and there were 2 Muslims. And if we had not put this project there, and if somebody came and said, it's possible for Christians and Muslims to be so interested in meditation, to go to the extent of taking the Diksha mantra, I would have said impossible. You would also say not possible. But it's happening. It just shows that the young people are open and ready to receive. How we deliver it to them, at what pace, in what way, that has to be worked out. And right now, every day in the morning, on Monday morning, year 9 students, grade 9 students will come and sit for meditation. Tuesday morning, year 10. Likewise, the whole school goes through. And when I'm not there, the teachers are conducting the meditation session. It is possible. So the mind is the most important thing. It's a source of knowledge, and ignorance is a source of happiness and misery. It can be your best friend and your worst enemy. If we do not train this mind properly, but just worry about shuffling, putting in too much knowledge, information in there and bringing out an examination, that makes us educated, so to say, but doesn't make us knowledgeable, doesn't make us wise. What we require is something else. Swamiji wanted man-making, character-building education. How do we transform the person deep within, not just by putting some information, but the good samskaras should come out, and they should have that willpower and the training by which they can control, have mastery over their thought process and the decision-making. Otherwise, everyone is saying, don't worry, be happy. You see this little signs everywhere, don't be happy, you say? The person who's worrying is not deliberately trying to worry. He's trying to throw off that worry, but the worry is not going off him because he doesn't have the tools by which he can throw that. So just giving nice ideas like that is not good. We have to give them the training by which they will develop that strength of mind to be able to do that. Sometimes we don't do that. We just set the goals up there. A couple of months ago, we were having some discussions with some devotees in Australia, New Zealand, who were all very worried about this mental health issues. There were mental health specialists, there were some lawyers and some business people, and everyone is talking like they're experts. Okay, this is what we should do, what we should do. There was a young boy, was there, a high school student. I said, everyone please keep quiet, let this young man speak. And everyone was surprised with what clarity he was articulating his ideas. He talked about everything. He said, yes, my principal and my teacher tells me, be resilient, be strong, be tough. The world outside is not like what your school is. But no one tells me how to become resilient. You see. We are telling them that's the goal, but how to walk that path, what are the exercises they must do. So this site, if it becomes just an information site, then it will not have its much value. People say we have all that information. So I'll take you through a little process of thought. I'll not give the answer, but you have been listening to Vedanta and reading all this for God knows how many years. I'm challenging you to think of the solution. Okay. And through that website, connect with us. So I'm not here to teach Vedanta or anything like this. Swamiji will do all those things here. I'm here just to see what you have been learning. Swami. So, men. It's not only a human being trying to have a spiritual experience. That's one way of seeing it, if you're too much body-centered. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. It's the other way. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and this world, we think that in ignorance, we have become identified with this body-mind complex, and we think things of the world are going to give me happiness, so we're constantly running out of them. We start them from childhood, young, and at old age, we begin to sober up and understand that there's no happiness is out there. But just when we begin to get a little wiser, we are called back, and again we are put in that same. That's how the world's Leela is going. But at some time, if we understand totally that it's not out there, then we'll seek it within. Religion starts with that inner search, inner space exploration, so to say. So if you look at this world, or a human being, if he's a physical being, body, then he's a emotional being, let us say. I just use shortcuts there. Then he's an intellectual being, mind, ideas, reasoning, all that. And then he's a moral and ethical being, decision making, all things based on dharma. And fundamentally, he's a spiritual being. All right, we agree with that. We've been listening to all these panchakoshas and everything right there. And if you put this idea in front of a young person, so when you're designing this, suppose I'm talking to a Russian or somebody who has no idea about religion, and he should be able to say, yes, I agree with those things. Swami Vivekananda said that we want strength. Strength is life, weakness is death. In every stage, in every sphere of life, those who are strong physically or emotionally or intellectually or morally or spiritually, they enjoy the world. Others suffer. How do we bring out that strength? And if I ask you, how would we bring out physical strength? You will say, Swamiji, very easy. We know we'll go to a gymnasium, we'll get enrolled into a training program, have an instructor who will guide us. So I'll do a lot of exercises. If you do a lot of exercises every day, you might become very weak if you do not take good food. Good food, exercises with rest, over a lot of time, exercise, rest, that process brings out the muscles. The muscles don't come from outside, they are within, but exercises help in the manifestation of that strength. That we know. So we have, say, exercises, physical, plus nutrition, physical, over long time gives you strength, physical. Agreed? That's done. I'll not go to the second, I'll jump to the third one. Intellectual strength we want. Beautiful education system is there from childhood. We have got nurseries in primary school and secondary school and university. We're specialized in particular subject of our interest, engineer, doctor, whatever. Again, we have the similar formula there. I'm trying to find a formula. So the formula is that ideas are food for the mind, systematically organized and graded from primary school and secondary to university in different subjects, biology, chemistry, physics. Each subject will have its own chapters, but you'll find that at the end of the chapter, there's something called exercises. The books called exercise books. Did you ever wonder why they're called exercises? The idea is that if you exercise, use them to exercise your mind, then your mental strength develops. You do that problem solving until you develop that capacity to analyze and understand a complex situation and bring out a solution. So we have exercises, intellectual, plus knowledge, which is food for the mind, given in small doses. You don't give a university theory of relativity to a primary school kid. Likewise, the Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, whether you give it to randomly or not, we have to understand. You see how Sri Ramakrishna taught, learn from those things. So nutrition is ideas. Over 20 years of studying makes you a doctor or something like that. It gives you intellectual strength. All right? That we have gone through that process, most of us have gone through that. We'll jump to the fifth one, spiritual strength. If you want to become spiritually strong, then what do? Same formula. You have exercises, spiritual exercises, meditation, japa, selfless service and all those type of things. So exercises, spiritual, plus spiritual food is the spiritual knowledge that comes from your Gita, the Upanishad, the Bible, scriptures, spiritual teachers. So you've got nutrition over a long time brings out spiritual strength. These three things are available to us. If I ask you about emotional strength, this one here, okay, emotional strength, we want to have people who are very, very emotionally strong. Now, what is the education system or something that's available in our society or at home where we are systematically trained to be emotionally strong? In your community and society, do you have something organized like that? No. So same response I'm getting elsewhere. Morally and ethically, similar thing. If parents are very righteous and all that, if you're in good company, then you learn the art of making the right, morally and ethically good decisions which are spiritually conducive to you. Otherwise, you do something wrong and then you have a guilty feeling and conscience is troubling you and all builds into something which is very, very weakening. So when you talked about this mental health issue, because this is your mental dimension here, okay, then you can see there is some inherent defects in our way we bring up children through our education system. Eventually you'll go down, you'll find that's a problem with our education system, which is too much focused in going out in this world, enjoying the world, making money, name, fame, power, position. The other knowledge, the Adhyatma Vidya, the Paravidya, that is absent from our curriculum. And that is that sooner or later people want that, because that is what we are spiritually. But if we are not connected to that source within us, if we are thinking and seeking for happiness outside, knowledge outside, security outside, want to make this body live forever, have a kidney transplant or heart bypass, all those type of things, because we think we are a physical being, because we do not know that we are really a spiritual being, that many times we have come and many times we will go, just like we put on the shirt and take it off, likewise we put on the body and take it off. And the purpose of life is not to come and enjoy here, but the purpose of life is to get out of this sansara. Then the whole picture changes. And if that knowledge is taught to a child from a young man, to a person from childhood systematically, then the way they approach this life, the meaning and purpose and how they look at everything totally changes. But without that knowledge, it is opposite. For example, we know that people who have emotional problems, they say problems. This word problems are there, okay? Because they look at something problem is something I should avoid if I can, but I don't want it. That is their perspective, because they think they should be happy all the time. Is it possible to be happy all the time? Everyone understands it. Yet we are trying to be saying happy birthday or happy this or happy that, maybe happy whatever, happy new year, whatever, as if you are going to be happy throughout the whole new year. Yeah, no, life is something like that. Let's be realistic that happiness and misery, life and death, disease and health, success and defeat, victory, all those things are part and parcel of life. Let us accept that. What do we want? We want to be beyond this, so that both of them do not touch us. Yes, life is a pendulum. Okay, it swings. One moment is here, another moment it is there. Isn't it? Can we stop the swinging? No, that is the nature of things. But if you don't like the swinging, then there is one place where the swinging does not happen. Okay, which is here. And if you get there, then let the world swing around you, but you are not swinging with it. That state is what Sri Krishna is trying to explain to Arjuna. So if you read the Bhagavad Gita from the angle of a psychology, as if Sri Krishna is a psychiatrist and he has found Arjuna with this problem, he says, Arjuna, first thing you have to understand, look, you want to run away, running away is not going to solve your problem. Okay, first thing. Understand that you are not only a physical being, but you are a spiritual being. The Atman inside you was never born, it never dies. So he enlarges his conception of what he is. And then he goes back to this world and says, this world is like this, okay? Sukha, but he teaches him the art. Sukha dukkha samay kritva labha labha jaya jayo. Sukha and dukkha, gain and defeat. Treat them with equanimity. Let them not affect you. Because deep inside you is a space, a position that is of the nature of peace that surpasseth all understanding as taught by Christ. And if you can reach that, that is called the Theta Punk, when one is established on his own true nature. Then the world will come and go, but it will not touch you. That is what he is teaching. He is not saying be happy and try to run away from misery. And then later on, he begins to teach the various techniques by which that's done, the Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, and all those things. And in the later chapters, he gives him the tools by which he can do a self-diagnosis of where he is. Like you go to a doctor and you're not feeling well, the doctor asks you to do so many blood tests and all those type of things, and he looks at the results and understands this is your pressure or your sugar and this is what's to be done. Likewise, in the Bhagavad Gita, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, you can get a full analysis of what is a sattvic person, a rajasic person, a tamasic person in different ways. So you do your self-analysis and create your own profile, and this is what I am, what is my position, and what I should do to go to the next stage. That way we will slowly make spiritual progress. So all those things are there, but if we are just looking it from a very spiritual angle, that is all about nirvana and God realization and self-realization, then this middle level where the training is necessary, this is neglected, and we are talking about this and this and this and too high. The mind is not ready. The tool by which one aspires to have that is not developed. And giving spiritual instruction without the means to reach it is not very, very practical. It becomes impractical. So you see, talking about happiness and misery, how do we look up those problems, so-called problems? So in the Upanishad, you have this story about these two birds on a tree, Dvasuparna, Sayuja, Sakhaya, and all that. And if he said, draw the tree like this, something like that there, and there are two birds there, one bird on the top and the bottom. Let me draw one bird up there. So this is... looks like that, man. And this bird is full of light and peace and knowledge and goodness and sitting very immersed in its own glory. All right, and then there's the other bird there below. Okay, it's like something like that, and she's busy looking for some fruits and some fruits and some fruits here, always trying to get the sweet one, the happy one. Okay, so long she's eating the happy fruits, she's content there. But now and then she will come across a very bitter fruit. And when she eats that, then she shocks and she looks up and there sees the other bird all calm and quiet, and here I am so distressed out. So she jumps one or two branches up. And again the temptation comes. Maybe she's in heaven now and again enjoying the heaven. But again she will get a few blows. And every time she eats a bitter fruit, she moves up. Now, from a spiritual point of view, which were more useful? The sweet ones or the bitter ones? The bitter ones. If you have that spiritual perspective of life. But if you looked at life as a place of enjoyment, then you don't want them. So when you enlarge our perception and our understanding of what is the meaning and purpose of life, that the ultimate goal is to realize that this higher bird is not different from you. It's your true nature. The lower one is really a reflection in nature, in the three gunas. You are really the Atman, which was never born, never dies, and you are of the nature of infinite existence, knowledge, bliss, purity, goodness, and all those wonderful things. All this bitter fruit is the one that is waking us from this dream that we are human beings. They are good for us. Just like Sri Krishna says, sattvic happiness is like poison in the beginning and nectar in the end. Likewise, what I'm trying to get across is, in an enlightened way, spiritually, with a spiritual enlightened way, if we look at the problem, then the bitter fruit is not a problem. Actually, these are the good teachers that are helping us move closer to the goal of life. And if we could drive that idea into the minds of children right from kindergarten and primary school and secondary school, and when they went out into the world, then when problems came, so to say, and they have this positive attitude to it, they don't want to run away from it, they don't whinge and grumble and complain about it, but they look upon them as exercises, as opportunities which can empower them to manifest that strength within. You see, so you'll find most of the problems don't automatically disappear when they're spiritual, in the light of spiritual knowledge. Swamiji says, if it is dark and you brood on that dark and complain about it and grumble about it, that's not going to remove the darkness. Bring in the light. Bring in the light of spiritual knowledge and darkness automatically will go away. When we are dealing with these mental health problems, we can take two steps. One is to make that a big issue. Okay, somebody is little unhappy because the results didn't come out in the in the examination, and immediately the parents want to take him to the psychiatrist and doctor or something, and he's labeled depressed and he or she is on medication. That's one way. The other one is to empower them, give them that inner strength, not from outside, but that inner strength. And the inner strength is from the Atman within. But how do they manifest that? How do they connect themselves to that deep source within them? And when you saw those children that we are teaching, whether they know what is spirituality or religion or not, they are going through an exercise, and if you could see that deep level of concentration that they are feeling, they are connecting somewhere. Whatever philosophy that's there, that's not so important. And we think that we have given them some tools, and we're getting a lot of nice feedback how they are facing those problems in life and applying them in their work and all those things. So this is something about we felt that Vedanta could help people in the area of mental health. And we have to be very careful also. When people are good, it's up there, then they slip down, and then maybe fall off the cliff. This is crisis situation. This is depressed situation. Medication, psychiatrists are there. We are not supposed to enter into that area because we are not trained, qualified, and risky. But if you can put a few fences up here at the top of the slope. What happened here? Yeah. Put some fences there so that people don't slip down that. Then it's more on focusing on mental wellness, not on illness. And Vedanta has that capacity through education, given at home by the parents, given through the teachers, given by the community, so that they don't go down this slope. And it is this area we are looking at, not down there. That's not our region. So you'll find on that website, RKM Global, we have put some ideas there. Okay, that is 1 year old, not developed so far, but we will update that. And what we are trying to do is, this is some ideas that I'm just showing with our people, that we propose to put, this is the matrix. This is a journey of life. Everyone is born. It's a period of childhood. Then there are teenagers. Then there are youths. There are young adults. Then there are matured adults, because adult is a long period. Then old age, and we are in the transit lounge to depart. This is the journey all of us are going through in different. The same teaching has to be different according to the level of maturity and capacity. So one principle does not apply to everyone. And then we say, just like we discussed there are physical needs, there are emotional needs, there are intellectual needs, there are moral and ethical and spiritual needs. And if we did a matrix like this and put content in an organized, systematic way, so that somebody came and said, this is about me. There's no mention of God or Hinduism or Vedanta. There's no Swami or anything preaching, because if you see put a Swami there giving a talk or something, then people from other denominations will simply see and walk away. We have to create maybe some smart ways of communicating. There's a wise owl teaching, there's a tree that is talking, there's a mountain who's saying, at my foothills great sages have been meditating and I have got all this knowledge, and I'm sharing. Non-impersonal teachers we can create, so that everyone can come. And they come for themselves. Okay, so the center of this whole thing is I. Who am I? I come here and I find something interesting. All the time I was thinking I'm an ordinary human being, but wow, this is talking about infinite knowledge, existence, bliss, and purity, goodness. That is my real nature. I never thought and heard about it. I've been thinking I was a little sheep, but they're telling me I'm like a lion and all those type of stories. We drive in that idea. But that idea, knowledge itself is good. But unless it is applied, it's not useful. You can know all about swimming. But if you don't get into the water and swim, that's no good. You can be a good instructor, but if one has not done the exercise themselves, it's useless for them. Likewise, Vedanta as a philosophy is wonderful, but if it's not put into practice, we'll never get the power out of it. Exercises is necessary. In Practical Vedanta, chapter 4, Swami Vivekananda says, more than truth itself, we need the exercise. When I read that, I was, what is this? Why is Swami saying exercise is more important than truth? Truth is so important, but exercise brings it out. And that's why we need to do that exercise. Going to the gymnasium is not fun. You're very sore and it's painful and all that. You come and complain, it's all aching all over the body, but next day you go again. Why? Because through pain will come strength, and I'm after that strength. As you become stronger, the pain becomes less. You develop your capacity. So if we had that approach, that this mental aspect, the emotional, moral and ethical and everything, we have to provide the knowledge and the application through which young people would come, discover themselves, find the tools, apply them in their everyday life, and feel that strength of Vedanta, the spiritual awakening of the lion within. Whether they call themselves Hindus or Muslims or Christians, it doesn't matter. They are being empowered, and when that lion begins to wake up, then it will begin to assert itself. In time, they will go and deeper and say, where did this knowledge come from? What's the source? They'll ask. Then they'll be ready for your Gita and Upanishad and Vedanta. And when they take it, they will take it with great sincerity, I believe, and they'll be ready for it also. So, this is the picture. Technology part of it is one part. The content part has to come from Swamis and people out in the field who are actually involved in different services. And of course, one of the challenging part is to how to coordinate all the people from different areas, different countries, align them to this ideal, make sure they're not pulling in all different directions, take something small, make it work as a sample, and then we can slowly build. If in 5 years' time we have a beautiful something on the cloud through apps and things people can access, and all this Vedanta knowledge can be given to them so that they can pick it at a time that's convenient to them, anywhere in the world, anyone. Then we have a beautiful satellite, so to say, that can broadcast the message of Vedanta. When we read Swami Vivekananda's teachings, he uses the word, we want to broadcast. Right now we have got some small radio stations here and there. We want to put it up on a satellite up there. And the technology is there. We have to think in a different way. And if we all can work together, Swamis across the Ramakrishna mission, hundreds and thousands of devotees who have been listening to all this Vedanta forever, if they can say, now, let's see how we can make it practical and pull all our energy and resources there and give that to the world, I think we would have done a little bit of service to the mission of Sri Ramakrishna. I would like you to have a look at that, keep following this, think about it very intensely as much as possible, and if you feel that you can be part of this, we would welcome you to come on board. Tell us exactly a little bit about yourself so that we can put you in the right place in the team. And if we can be a little squirrel and carry a few cents to build this bridge of Sri Ramakrishna to take his message to the world, we will do a good service to ourselves and also to the world. With that vision and idea, I came around, traveling around Europe, US. The response has been very, very positive. People always say, very nice, Swami, very, very nice. How that translates into some solid support from that. We'll take the name of Sri Ramakrishna and Swamiji and jump, and we hope that you will come on board also and be part of this journey. I'm sure it will be equally rewarding to you, as well as will do some good to the world. Swamiji says, if in this hell of a world we can bring a smile even to a single person for a day, that much alone is true. All else is moonshine. We are not trying to solve the problem of the whole world, but if only a few people are also helped, that itself is good enough. With that, I thank Swamiji for giving this opportunity to interact with you, and please keep engaged, and we hope to meet some of you seriously working on this project. Thank you.
So our sincere thanks to Swamiji for coming and giving us these wonderful ideas. As I said at the beginning, he's a mine of fresh, creative ideas, a fresh approach to things. And having spent the last couple of days with him, of course, I met him in India several years ago. But having spent the last couple of days with him, this is just the beginning of his ideas. He has many ideas bubbling with good, creative, useful, practical ideas. And so that's something that Swami Vivekananda wanted. Let me just pick out a thread from his rich talk to emphasize that. There are many things that could well be emphasized, should be emphasized, but just one thread in conclusion. He quoted Swamiji where Swamiji says that my ideal can indeed be put into a few words, and that is to teach unto mankind their divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life. Swamiji said that that was his ideal. That was what he was seeking to do. How to make it manifest in every movement of life. That is, in every action, everything that we do. And so it's with that inspiration that the Swami is working, and that's something that we need very much. Swami Vivekananda used to say that I, Swami Vivekananda, speaking for himself, I can explain the heights of the Advaita Vedanta, non-dualistic Vedanta, even to a child of 5. And so that's what we have to learn to do, how to teach principles and ideas to all types of minds at their own level. You don't teach the highest Advaita to a child of 5 by reading the Brahma Sutra commentary of Shankaracharya to them. So how to make that practical to a child of 5? That's what the Swami is struggling with, and what we all could profitably struggle with. As the Swami also quoted Swamiji where he says that this knowledge of Advaita will make a fisherman a better fisherman, a teacher a better teacher, a lawyer a better lawyer, a student a better student, and eventually help them to realize the highest truth. So when Swamiji said it will help a fisherman be a better fisherman, he didn't mean by instantly putting them into nirvikalpa samadhi. No, it will help a fisherman be a better fisherman, a student be a better student, a lawyer be a better lawyer, here and now, and what they're actually doing. And eventually it will help people because all of these ideas are connected to the highest truth. Eventually it will lead them to the highest truth, but it will help them right here and right now, wherever they are. And so anyway, I'm so happy that the Swami came, was able to talk to you. And so I would open it up to questions, but the Swami is leaving in a little bit for Dallas, where he has a program this evening. And so we'll go ahead and have the arati, and then the lunch, and then after the lunch, it'll be time for the Swami to leave for the airport. So again, our thanks to him for coming, and on his first visit, and hopefully one of many. So I'll give a closing chant. Om Dyo Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Apashanti Oshataya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishwe Deva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace is in the heavens, peace in the sky, peace is on earth, peace in the waters, peace in the plants and the trees. The gods are peace. Peace is the nature of truth. All is peace. Peace alone, peace. May that peace, real peace, be with us all. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all the beings of the universe.